Welcome to the Dice Box and Tombstone Blues. Currently, our group of well, wild, weird West adventurers are in a town just at the edge of the wastes. You know, the wastes with a capital W. Um, and they're looking to eventually take a good hard look at the Hillcrest Sanitarium, but they've discovered that the town nearby is in and of itself having some issues. There's a silty, dusty sandstorm kind of thing blowing through the town. Um, People have gone missing, either ridden out and never come back, or just vanished in the night. There was some unusual bits about the belongings of the one person that they found. And, well, they're going to have a look around, basically. They spoke to the reverend in the church in town, and he said that he tends to bring supplies to the sanitarium in case there are still patients. And, they seem, the supplies seem to go away, so somebody's getting them. Hopefully it's the people who need them. He doesn't know. But, Christian charity, etc., etc. He is going to make that trip tomorrow with you guys doing however you're doing. And meantime, you're gonna have a quick look around the town itself, because there's a few places that people can point you at that sorry, where you can investigate. Leave us simply say. There we go. There's my upload. That's one thing I didn't actually get around to doing. So talk amongst yourselves while I do some sorting.
So I was still contemplating. Well,
currently you're in the middle of lunch, so.
Right. Okay. Never mind then. I was going to wait for that when we got up to where we were.
What do you mean?
Lunking. We were going to. We were having. I know we were having lunch, and then we were going to look into some of the houses that people were missing from.
That's the. Okay. That was the general.
So how do we want to do this? Do we want to? It seems like unfortunately, it seems like there's more than one place that we can look at. Do we want to? We should probably stick together, given the circumstances.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think we want to be splitting up, given people are being snatched in the night. That doesn't. If things are escalating, we may be at the point where people are getting snatched during the day. At least that's the next logical step. Okay, so then, yeah, I guess we won't be able to check as much that way, but it'll definitely be far safer. So yeah, okay.
The question that Alloy might go to is, science notwithstanding, do you really need to check them all? All she really needs to do is take some readings, do some math.
Do we have to go to every single one? I just need readings and time to do all the calculations.
Okay, I didn't know. You do your thing. I don't know. Figured the more information you got to work with, the better. But if that's all you need, okay.
I need maybe like some samples and a few. Well, points of data, and then just the world's biggest blackboard.
Given your analytical mind, what you probably want is the one.
Oop.
That's me. Hang on. grandparents. Out of the blue. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Family happens. I mean, the only reason I don't have any remote chance of shit like that happening to me is because of what time it is.
That's why I immediately just said, can't now.
In any case, to go back, Alloy, what you need is the most recent place where the person, the place where the most recent disappearance happened, because the readings you got were from years ago.
So, okay. To be more specific, in terms of points of data, what I need is whatever the newest disappearance was, because I've got the oldest, I think.
Well, older. But yeah, no, that makes sense. You need fresh tracks. Gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, then Blackboard and math and a lot of things that are going to be really hard to explain. I also need cable.
What?
Like, and I'm pulling out the thunder cannon and basically popping open a section to show where there's like the bits of like copper wire and stuff connecting bits and such. I need more of this, just a lot more.
I don't know where we're going to find that here.
Reba is wise, and I know she probably won't necessarily understand the answer unless she phrases it very carefully, but are you going to ask why?
I'm probably going to not understand, but why?
I'm needing a way to connect one thing to another. And I need power to go from one end to the other.
For what?
Yeah, so you're... What? Huh? What? That doesn't answer the question, but okay. Why? What? What? Huh?
From the gun to the canister.
No!
Thank you!
Just, no. That just... Jillian, that just screams bad idea. And coming from Aloy, that's saying something. That's saying a whole hell of a lot. I don't even need to ask the ancestors as to whether or not that's a bad idea.
Yeah, Jillian is at this point trying to comprehend, okay, why would you connect that fucking gun to particularly virulently evil Ghost Rock that nearly sent her blind?
Aloy, do you remember the last time you started fiddling with Ghost Rock?
Specifically that brand of Ghost Rock.
Yeah.
Because that's not normal. Well, not like Ghost Rock is normal, but you know what I mean.
That means it has more output.
That output. That's why you're wearing glasses now, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's not even the same output. Reba knows this.
It's not the same. What comes out of that is not what comes out of your gun. They're not gonna boom. At least.
If you're lucky.
It made you blind. It damn near made you blind. It's.
Then I need a way to convert one kind of power to another.
I think that's beyond what we're gonna find in this place,
Yeah,
Aloy.
we're not doing that now, if ever. We're certainly not doing it here.
Just focus on what you can find out from that house when we get there.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Reba, you are wise. It might be worth interrogating Alloy as to, while you're waiting for while you're eating lunch and waiting for the Reverend to finish tending to his flock so he can tell you where the most recent bit is, it might behoove you to make a few more specific inquiries as to why Alloy took that chunk of ghost rock out in the first place, because you thought it was for study, but clearly it isn't.
Right. Yeah, I was debating whether or not to get into that right now, but yes, you're right. We have the time. We should, yes.
Given
Okay,
that she's taken it this close to the waists.
Okay, so that begs a number of questions. So I thought when you brought out that chunk of very specific ghost rock that it was for study. Now you're talking about using it for things. On top of that, considering how close we... Why did you bring that up in the first place? Then why are you trying to cram it into things that you don't even know? You haven't even studied it. All you've done is gave it a better box. That's it.
This is part one of studying it. I've got to shield it first. I've got to make sure I've got everything, like, not exploding first.
And then she wants to channel it into a weapon directly to stage 2.
Then you're jumping from that to turning it into a weapon. You don't even...
There needs to be a way to get rid of that damn asylum.
God.
And I don't want to lose it by blowing it up, so I'm going to see if I can't just take whatever it is and point it that way.
Oh.
I'm improvising.
So, particularly
That's not a reassurance, Aloy.
Particularly tainted ghost rock from the Reckoner's actual domain, fired at something either on the edge of or by this point in the actual wastes with a capital W. Alloy? Okay, no, you're smarter than this. You're not wiser than this. Go ahead. Reba is...
So, you're firing something that at the very least is emitting energy, and it's in of itself was taken directly from the Reckoner's domain. You're going to attempt to fire this energy again from the Reckoner's domain at something that is either directly next to or at this point in the wastes. And on top of that, whatever it is even going on there may be fueled by the same stuff.
Have the gears started rattling yet?
Yes.
There's the whole fire with fire, but this ain't that!
Given that Alloy is now thinking it seems to eat energy, vitality, what would this do?
There's somewhere between a grin and a look of horror on my face right now. I think I understand what it's doing. I need better shielding. I need better shielding and no plugging it into anything.
Please explain. Okay, well, I need to know what it is you think now.
She's just wanting to keep it from trying to eat what she's got, so now she's just going to focus on walling that thing into an even bigger can, because she can't really just leave it anywhere. It's too dangerous to just leave.
But, okay, so I know that now, but they're still asking, or Reba's still asking.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, that's an improvement, but it was the why that got us here in the first place, so I'm going to do it again. Why?
Look, I can't very well just leave it here.
Well, yeah.
I can't leave it anywhere, because this kind of thing I have to either keep with me or blow up.
Or, okay.
And if I'm going to keep it with me, and the things out there are eating similar power structure, then better shielding means they're less likely to start noshing on what I'm carting around and getting way stronger.
Then shouldn't you be thinking of a way to destroy that thing not use it for a weapon.
Okay, your options are carry it around or blow it up. What do you think is going to happen if I blow it up?
Reba, the wise. This thing in the waste, this thing at the sanitarium, or near the sanitarium, or potentially adjacent to the sanitarium, seems to eat the things that matter to people. What does Alloy need most to do what she does? How could she function if she couldn't see? Jillian, you would understand that it's a gamble, and it's something that you would really have to be sure that you could do. But it's a little chunk of the absolute evil. And if the Lord is on your side, then maybe a certain amount of smiting might actually help. Maybe. You don't know. But it's certainly a thought.
Look, Aloy, the way that thing is, the way we've all seen folk make damned things from that stuff, Heaven's Fire is probably a better shot of destroying it than anything else that'll just spread more corruption in any kind of blast.
Well, then, good. That means I can ask you to blow it up if we have to blow it up. For now, I'd rather, at the very least, find out more about it before we resort to blowing it up.
Fair enough. Let's just...
And, just keeping it contained first.
How are you going to study it if you
Let's
can't
just
look at
take
it?
things one small step at a time.
I mean, if you can't, I mean, let's see. How can I put this? You can make it a better box, but it's still openable. I mean, because you can't study it if you can't look at it. But you can't look at it without, well, going blind. Losing your sight.
If I build enough things into the box, I can have the box take readings for me. Have the box look at it, not me looking at it.
Fair. All right. Well, anyway. Look, I'm just glad you're not trying to plug it into that gun. that was...
Well,
just
if it weren't for you guys, that's probably what I would have done 3 weeks ago. So I'm glad I got you guys around here.
That poor blacksmith.
Of course, then there's also the Alloy going to mention the thing about she was kind of hoping it could help her learn how to plane shift or fuel a plane shifting airship.
Yeah, I haven't gone there yet. She's wanting everyone to have a minute to chill out first.
And we're saying that Aloy isn't wise.
Stop clock.
Yeah, I'm almost tempted to ask her to roll a deception check just because that's bound to be on her mind right now.
I mean, if you, I will happily do that right now.
Given all of the airship drawings and everything.
Yeah, that's that's certainly fair.
Where is that hiding? There it is.
And Reba with her
19.
Oh.
Nice.
I think I'm wise enough. I will go ahead and roll an insight on that just to see if I have any inkling that there's more to it. 21.
It does take a minute, but you see the occasional slight cutting of the eye to her notebook, and then the airship design things and doodles start ticking in your head. And with that
Mm-hmm.
done, I'm now going to clear the chat log because it's very, very. So yeah, that it's like okay.
I'm like, so what is your obsession with wanting to fire this out of things? Because it seems like you're either wanting to fire it out of a gun or you're wanting to fire it out of a
Engine.
ship or engine. Yeah.
Well, okay. Normal ghost rock is a really strong power source, right? But I've yet to see it be able to do the kinds of things like that plane shift magic. I need a much bigger power source or a stronger one. And well, figure
I'm just looking at Jillian. Oh my god.
figure make sure the math is all right and the containment's safe and do the science right. It'll work without breaking stuff. I want to make something that travels, that does something other than explode.
The expressions.
And I dish. Oh, God! I wish he was here. The sheer amount of I mean, I literally stalk the crossroads. That's literally who I am, and even that is risky enough. You have no
There's magic that does it.
clue.
I
You
just don't have
no
the power to do it.
concept of the risk that would entail, let alone the science. Even if you could get it right, the sheer amount of
And that just means I'm working on it longer.
The very nature of that stuff is cursed. It's not a matter of machinery. It's not coal. It's not oil. It's not that there's a way to make it that it'll just be all right, and it just takes some math to figure out how to use it without harming nobody.
Not some math, all the math.
it's
Not gonna do anything with it now.
okay.
Let me get the math right first.
Reba's looking over at Jillian, just like,
Hmm.
at least we got, at least she's not trying to shoot it. Well, shoot with it. Use it for ammo. I don't know.
This Spot sort of hops up onto Reba's lap, puts paws on her chest, and sort of leans up to almost boop her in the nose. Goes, all you need to do is keep her busy so she can't make the numbers. Thump. Curls up in lap.
Hug. Just hug.
Let's
finish up.
readings.
Yeah,
Get
let's-
moving.
You got work to do.
Yes, we have people here to help,
Yes,
don't we?
we have. Yes, we have. Yes.
I'm aware of that. There's just things I think of that aren't what's right in front of me at that very second.
Reverend kind of peeks in, going, am I interrupting something?
I'm just gesturing to the other two and shrugging.
Sorry, Fess, what did you say?
Am I interrupting something?
Oh, that was the Reverend.
Yeah.
No, Reverend, we were hoping you could point us towards the home of the last family to disappear. The most recent one.
Can do that. Sure. Might I trouble you for a bit of your paper, young miss?
And out comes one of the many, many, many bits of supply of graph paper.
I'm not entirely sure they had graph paper back then, but fuck it.
Just paper with that's like charted out to put other things on it.
So she must have made it herself, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Already drew on it.
Kind of. It makes it easier to plot data.
All right. This sketches out a pretty good map of the town, as what little of it you saw anyway, and marks sort of a little bit behind the general store. It marks one of the buildings that he sketched out with an X. It's a small enough place. I'll spare you the story of the family, but they went pretty recent. Young'un first. Pa went out looking for her, never came back.
We're hoping we can find a trail, figuratively speaking. Something that'll help us identify what exactly is taking them.
Oh, it'd be nice for that to stop while we've still got folks left in town. Meantime, I'll set y'all up some sleeping spaces in the attic, as I promised.
Thank you.
Be warned. I mean, when I say these things, they might not have only been the most recent. The mother and the older child went missing a couple of months ago. Pa and the little girl hung on for a while, but
It's 2 data points in one, basically.
effectively, yeah. The most recent of somebody who was actually taken from their space. I couldn't tell you which room it is, but if you find the little girl's room, that'd be it. Then hands back the map of town. And then heads upstairs to start tidying things up for when you guys are retiring for the evening.
Julian nods appreciatively and then starts to head out.
I'm just gonna follow along.
And Spot is just gonna go, I must stay here. Are you gonna bring the big metal mule?
Spot's going to stay here and wants to know if you're bringing Muffin.
Trying to I'm thinking of how much of my kit is in Muffin and what if I would need to bring anything that would require Muffin to carry.
Not necessarily. You can at least do preliminary readings. with the kit that turns up in your many pockets. If you needed anything more intense, you could always come back. But the thing is that you don't know what the force that is draining energy out of things, vitality out of things, would do to Muffin if you had to leave Muffin outside.
I think I'm gonna have to leave Muffin here, so I'm gonna go tell him to do stationary scans while he's here.
Yeah, that's probably best given how concerned at least the parents were.
Yeah, when you get out into the main church area, the parents are still looking a little bit concerned, but a couple of the kids are actually using Muffin like a jungle gym.
Hey, Muffin,
Whoop.
having fun?
Boop, boop. It looks as confused as a mechanical mule can look. Boop, boop, boop,
You're doing good, Muffin.
boop, boop, boop,
Now, you're gonna have to stay here for now, okay?
boop.
I'll be back. I'm definitely coming back. Wouldn't go anywhere without you.
Boop.
But I need you to stay safe, because out there is draining things, and wouldn't want your battery to get sucked out.
Opens up some of his shielding bits and pieces as if to demonstrate you could just make that better. One of the kids was actually trying to climb and now is sort of going up sideways. Whee!
Yeah, I could. I just figure it's a bit safer. Plus, this gives you a place to scan for stuff.
Boop boop. Seems to be asking scanning for what?
Well, get a control for what it feels like normal, and then keep an eye out for anything that changes that normal. So, scan for 5 minutes, and then after that, whatever changes from that, especially if it's a big change,
Doesn't seem to
notify and try to find it.
Doesn't seem to entirely understand, but does seem to start, boop, boop.
Just Muffin radar go.
Yeah.
Yay!
Lets the
Thank you,
shielding
Muffin.
lets the shielding down. The little kid sort of slides. Again.
And Muffin can watch the kids.
Well, so long as if they ask for stuff, so long as you don't have to get up and move, and they don't poke anything that's
Sensitive.
anything sensitive, you can flap the bits for 'em.
Then stops in the middle of the boop, and just boop boop. The kid sort of grabs hold of the Flappy Bit, and Flappy Bit goes all the way up. Onto Muffin's back. Yay!
I think we can call that a win, Muffin.
Reba's been going from the Muffin hijinks to glancing over at the parents, back and forth.
Who are just kind of we are not sanguine about this, but what are we going to do about it? Because our kids are happier than they've been in like weeks.
Yeah, and when she sees that, she's just like, kind of gives him that nod where it's like, yes, it's weird, but it's okay.
Which, given that these are white Southerners, it's not as reassuring.
Reassuring. You all know.
They look at Jillian.
There you go.
Jillian's. We're looking into what's troubling y'all, and We're gonna put an end to it.
They nod, and but they just point. One of the mothers just points at Muffin, who's the two of the kids are clinging to the flaps that are just going noop, 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 noop.
The machine's harmless.
They're not entirely sure about this, but you know what? Okay.
Julian, you are not good at mollifying parents.
Nope.
And unless y'all had anything else to say to folks?
Nope.
Neep.
I am ready for science.
So, yeah, onward into town, which, again, is, dust stormy, and now there's almost, now there's basically no one on the street. You don't really see anything move except something off in the distance that you hope is a tumbleweed. About the right size, about the right movement pattern, you think. It's a little bit of a walk to the to the house that you've been sent to look at. Again, streets are silent, bar the tack of dust on the walls and the whoop of wind from between buildings. Past the general store, where you can just about see the young man who's currently running the place peering out, trying to keep an eye on things as much as possible. About a block or so beyond that, you come up to a single-story building, not particularly large, but seems well appointed, if incredibly scuffed up from the outside. A bit of a porch used to have a railing. Most of it seems to have collapsed at some point. So yeah, you're coming up around about there to front door. No. And you're muted. There.
Yeah, no, disregard the click. I was trying to scroll.
Ah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not seeing anything of the inside, but I can't be asked to muck around with Fog of War right now. So, yeah, you've come up. The windows are too grimed to see out of. Or in through, more to the point.
Jillian percepts.
Perception check.
Never mind.
Nah, Jillian is having a bit of a difficult time, because unfortunately the brim of her hat is kind of acting as a bit of a dust catcher. So
Well, I'm gonna go in and just start poking around, trying to actually try and see if there's anything I can just lift up for access, like just prodding at whatever's there.
yeah, door is locked. Because remember, the father actually went out to find the missing child, and given the situation, he'd probably got very used to locking up, no matter how apparently pointless it was. So yeah, front door is locked.
Can I go around investigating the entire perimeter?
You can. So
Aloy, where are you going? Can't you open the door?
I can, but I would rather not mess with everything too much because it might offset the data.
Okay,
Fine.
investigation check. What exactly are you looking for?
Basically, any possible way in that won't require me futzing with the lock on the door, something that might be already open by dint of not being an obvious sane person's entrance.
Nope. Windows are shut. There isn't a back door. These are people that didn't really have to have a kitchen garden, so there wasn't any particular need to have the kitchen open out onto a side or back garden. And you do see what was probably once a lovely little flower garden over in that general direction. It was probably quite a nice view from whatever rooms are there, but the windows are shut. None of them are broken. And they're far too grimy to actually see through, so it's either Jimmy a window or Jimmy the lock.
And once I've come back around, I'm just pulling out the lock picking, thieves' tools, and other bits and bobs to get the door open.
Okay, thieves' tools.
What's the...
You're muted again.
There it goes.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was muted; it's that I had
No,
a connection.
Ethan.
Hang.
Ethan was muted.
Oh.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
it's
wasn't
kind of
thinking
massive.
anything.
your lips did move, so
Oh, okay. Sorry.
yes, you clearly were, but it didn't matter because it wasn't directed at us anyway. Fine, good, okay. Yeah, so after Jillian has spent 5 minutes sort of poking around the house going, no, that's locked, no, that's locked, no. Aw, those were probably some really nice begonias. And that's locked. And man, not even a broken window? He finally comes back and pulls out a set of lockpicks and in fairly short order has the front door open. You come into a rather nice sitting room, or used to be. I mean, the furniture was pretty nice furniture, but dreadfully faded. If this gentleman was out, like, if he's only been away a few days, either he really let it go, or it's faded far too fast.
Oh boy. Samples time. And I'm headed for the furniture to remove a couple of small bits or pieces and start scanning those.
Okay. Scanning in specific.
See, it is for how much they've degraded,
We'll
and
say,
if they're
one thing at a time, how far they've degraded. We'll say an investigation check for that, because that's not so much scanning as actually prodding with it to see what.
because out comes the little screwdriver and.
Well, it's certainly not a few days. The pigment shouldn't have, particularly with the windows as grimed as they are, it shouldn't be this faded. I mean, this is sun and time bleached to a degree of probably months. Carpet, same thing.
Huh. Oh. Looks like in the few days that people have been gone from here, this place has aged several months. So the effect is very fast. Especially if directed.
Well, you don't really know. It wouldn't have been directed in this room.
At least from my best guess, if whatever made them vanish was also watching or aiming at the house, that would explain why it went from 2 days to several months.
Reba,
At least that's my guess.
Arcana check?
18. Oop.
Um, keep in mind that without anybody in the house, there's no one feeding the vitality back. If it's an ambient effect, as you have presumed that it is, it's kind of like if you've got say a sink with a hole in it. If you keep pouring water in,
I was thinking of that too.
yeah,
I
so
got
there
you.
you go.
I get your metaphor. Aloy, if some of this is ambient, once everyone was gone and there's nobody feeding the vessel that is leaking faster than it's leaking, then it's going to just, well, empty. So this may have been going on for a very long time. Just, there were people here to keep it full. I would like to get deeper in the house. They said, if I remember correctly, the Reverend said the little girl was taken from her room. I say one thing, yes, you're going to do your scans and all that. I also want to take a look, especially in the little girl's room, for anything more physical. To as
Very good
far as,
plan.
yeah,
Okay.
if she was,
Upstairs then, yes?
No, there is no upstairs. It's a single-story house. If you would listen when I describe things, you would embarrass yourself.
Yeah, I did miss that bit because
But
well, there's also no
something
stairs on
went.
the map. Anyway,
Yeah. I only have so much room on my screen, people.
fair enough. Same here. um, if I remember correctly, you said it was toward the back of the house. The Reverend said.
All right.
yeah, so
Well,
you basically got 3 doors. There,
yeah.
there, and there.
Hold on. We don't want to be barging in. I mean, you were the one concerned about opening the door and not mucking with the data. Let's not just go, running off yet. Be at least mindful.
I haven't gone anywhere. I'm saying let's do the thing.
Oh, okay. Just the way you were saying it, it sounded like you were about to just go
Hog
all
wild.
barrels. There you go, hog wild. Yes, thank you. Sorry, Eloy.
So which door are you gonna take first?
Jillian, you want to do the honors?
Yep, Jillian has her hand on her gun. She opens the door and
Which
strides
door?
onward.
Okay. You come into what appears to be a corridor. There's a fair bit of empty space around here, and doors here, here, and here.
And Reba's behind, behind Jillian enough to. Actually, how tall is Jillian? Out of curiosity.
Reba's probably a little bit taller than she is from what
Okay.
I've been able to discern.
Jillian's
I couldn't
not
quite remember.
remarkably tall.
Okay, yeah, then Jillian can probably see past, or Reba can probably see past Jillian. Okay.
Basically from shortest to tallest without a whole lot of particular variance is Alloy, Jillian, Reba.
Okay.
So
Jillian continues on to the first bedroom door.
Opens the door into a small, comfortable, well, used to be comfortable, now very, very aged master bedroom. The bed is unmade. There's clutter on the desk in the far corner. The clothes have faded to an indiscriminate shade of gray in the cupboard.
Jillian once over is the room. Presumably, it's not a child's room by the look of
No,
it.
it is definitely not a child's room.
Oh, and she continues onwards.
Okay, when she gets to that door on the same side of the corridor, she does see a little difficult to tell with the lack of color in the place, but given the couple of plush animals on the bed, this was probably the little girl's room. Jillian, make me a wisdom saving throw.
19.
Something. Something. You're not sure what, you can't see it, but it's gritty as the sand and cold as a late winter desert night blows past you. Apparently trying to be through you, but the word, as it were, seems to be your shield for the moment, and then it's gone.
Jillian whips out her pistol and spins about.
Hi!
It doesn't seem to be anything.
Whoa! Considering I was about there, like in behind, and you just spun around. I'm like, whoa! Hey!
Reba, did you feel that?
No. Could you maybe point that away?
She points
Jillian,
it to the floor.
Okay, that's better.
thank you.
There was something in
Well,
that room.
obviously, I know you. You don't react like that to nothing.
Thank you.
But
We're
no,
not denying that there was a thing there. We're just trying to, like,
not get
he
shot.
didn't notice.
whatever
And-
it was, is it. So it came out of the room at you.
Mm-hmm.
Alloy,
Well,
make me a wisdom saving throw.
Me?
Yes, you.
Yeah, because I heard it
Alloy.
give me a wisdom saving throw.
okay.
Yeah. It cut. It's been
It-
doing that. It's been.
Stop it. I get it. I understand. You're over explaining again. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Wisdom save. 14.
Your shiny new glasses. One of the hinges on the arms turns to rust and sort of snaps, and the lens on the opposite side fractures.
Ah, son of a.
You feel this blast of cold and dry and raspy go past you as that happens, and then it's gone, and you're just left with glasses that look like they've been neglected for a very long time. You are at disadvantage for perception checks and investigation that involves your eyesight.
Jillian points up her gun again. Looks
Put
around.
that.
Yeah, I'm like whatever. Actually, wait. Let me check my spells for 1 second.
Just holding the now degraded glasses and swearing.
I'm like I'm looking around right at this point, and so much so that I'm detect magic
Okay.
has been popped.
Can you put the spell card up?
Sure. 1 moment. That's if I do that with the little gear, right? Or click on the title.
I think it's yeah. It's
The title,
on
there
the
we go.
title. Well, you definitely see auras of magic around Jillian and Alloy. 1 foot of stone wedge, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of dirt. You're not seeing any immediate magic within 30 feet of you.
Well, whatever got you two, there's magic there. There's something
No,
there.
no,
There's aura.
that's
Oh, the magic that they normally have. Is that what that was? My bad. Okay, so, well, I am not seeing anything. I'm not sensing anything other than you two.
Mm,
So it's not magic.
or at least
I
it's
can't
not
do
within.
proper factor analysis like this!
Take samples and we'll take them back to the attic and you'll fix your glasses there? Maybe?
see if we can find new glasses at the general store when we go back.
Or glass.
Yeah,
least.
because, well, I mean, you don't in this world, you don't just buy glasses. They're not even that common in general.
Okay.
So, I mean, she might say that in a dismissive sort of tone as she's sort of trying to go, okay, where is the evil? But completely forgetting the amount of time that Alloy spent making those to her specifications.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yet more swearing.
Jillian lowers her gun somewhat and then goes back to step into the daughter's room.
Okay.
And Reba's not so so insensitive that she's gonna tell Alloy to focus. She's gonna save that for the next time Alloy cheeses her off.
And are you keeping your focus up on that?
Oh, on the detect magic?
Yes.
Because
it's concentration up to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's necessarily going to do any good, but...
Well, no. Given the circumstances, yeah, she'll keep that up and running, just in the off chance, if nothing else, early warning possible.
Speaking of wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Oh, I'm in the wrong core. There we go. Wisdom save. 11.
What do you traditionally carry with you?
I mean, all sorts of jars of things and well, containers of things for use with with a lot of her magic. Her weapon, the brooch, her hide armor, herbalism kit. And various, utility blades and whatnot for.
And I am assuming that you do keep a couple of tokens from, home, parents, that kind of thing. So I'll just make a thing up. Because there's a couple of things that happen given that roll.
Yep.
Actually, first give me another. Actually, I think it's Constitution save to save against.
12.
Yeah, your detect magic goes as the blast of cold and grit and awful washes over you. Your moccasins were very much a gift, a kind of a coming of age and naming thing. Because if you stalk the crossroads, you need decent footwear. The beading on it starts basically falling apart, and the leather on it some of the stitching on it does seem to weaken. And in whatever bag you keep some of your spell components in, you hear very faint cracks. Possibly some of the jars in there breaking.
Oh, hells. I start heading for the door.
Hey, sorry, Jillian's in the girls' room. Uh, Aloy is standing there holding her glasses, and Reba is leaving. And give me a dex save, Reba.
16.
You manage not to have the door slammed directly in your face. But it does shut.
Jillian steps back out at the sound of a door slamming shut.
Yep.
That wasn't me. We're stuck.
Jillian points her hand at the ceiling, intones. Where's the spell card? Let there be light.
I mean, it's brighter in here.
Fuck! Hello? Half blind now. Don't know where I'm supposed to go. Point me, somebody! Just getting increasingly irate.
Whatever's in here is draining us. Ish. Our stuff, at least.
For now. You saw the picture, the dress.
We need to either get out of here or get whatever this is.
Jillian keeps looking around. Not very well.
Too bright. 'Cause
That's fair.
You cast daylight without asking what brightness the room is. Speaking of, give me a wisdom save. That feeling blows over you again. This time, if you're checking that locket that you wear, those pictures aren't there anymore. I mean, the paper's there, but...
Right, I've pulled the thunder cannon, and I'm just pointing it at anything that resembles a wall.
Okay, give me a perception check with disadvantage.
It's like, yeah, I told you guys to point me, and guess what's happening? That's a nat 1.
A 0.
Okay, make me an attack roll with the thunder cannon. To be fair, the disadvantage can stay. Okay, Reba's odds, Jillian's evens. That's a 4. Alloy, roll me damage.
Boom!
Yep, that's 8 piercing damage as, blind as a bat. Alloy, aims for the door that you were in the general vicinity of, with you in front of it. So that doesn't actually do anything to the wall, but it's hitting Jillian, sorry.
Oh, okay.
God almighty!
I said point me! I can't see shit right now!
Didn't...
Alloy, make me a wisdom save.
That's
one.
0.
Something in
Wow.
your thunder cannon, in fact, lots of things in your thunder cannon go ping, and that noise. Mm. You can't see anything,
Jillian?
but you feel the vibration stop.
Jillian, make a hole or get me in that room. Those are your options right now.
Reba, grab her. And she gestures her towards the bedroom.
Okay,
Quickly now.
you're heading back into the little girl's room. Okay.
Also, where is the nearest window?
If you're in the little girl's room, the nearest window is sort of over the bed around about there.
And it's big enough for us to theoretically
Theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically. And Jillian does a very quick once over of the room.
Let's hope your perception improves. That's investigation. Are you poking at
Yeah,
things?
more. Yeah, I should have said more poking than
It's still
sensing.
it's still
Yes.
a little girl's room, and you're currently really, really angry, and probably looking very forward to pitching that end table through that window.
I'm going to.
Is it a small end table?
It's eatable.
Then she searches through it briefly to make sure there's nothing useful, and then she picks it up with obvious intent.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything else in this?
I'm gonna try and poke around what little I can while I can before Jillian.
Investigation with disadvantage, please.
24.
You manage to pick up what your fingers tell you is a stuffed animal, a dress, and what is either a book or a diary, you can't tell.
Okay, I have things. Let's go.
Jillian throws the table.
Okay, that's gonna be an athletics check, please.
Oh my god.
It bounces off a wall. You're not having a good day. So you just watch her sort of yeet and blink, thud, onto the bed. Apparently not quite enough yeet.
I'm going to try and affix all that stuff somewhere that it won't fall off if I try to leave.
Jillian,
Reba, wisdom save.
$17.
You feel that cold again, but nothing else seems to be changing at the moment.
So, yeah, you just see Reba kind of tense up and go, no!
Jillian
Want to
goes
try
pick up the table.
further yeet?
Yeah, she's going to walk over to the table and pick it up and hand it to Jillian. You want to try again?
And Jillian gets closer to battering ram it against the window.
Still athletics check, thank you.
There we go.
This time it's just you are incredibly pissed. Yeet! Smash! And you sort of hear rather than see the end table with a thump, thump, thump outside.
Reba, grab Aloy, put her through.
So, yeah, well, I'll need your help.
Yeah. Alloy, dex save with disadvantage.
Nat
Oh.
1.
Okay, that's 8
8
points of slashing damage from broken glass on your hands as you're scrambling out,
More swearing.
and an awful lot of blood. Okay,
Several
but she's out.
Reba's heading for the window herself.
Dex
not
save.
not even waiting for Jillian. Just gotta go for it.
Dex save.
Jillian, covers that.
And
That's 3 points of slashing damage for they damage to your hands.
Yep. I'll fix it later.
Jillian thankfully wears gloves on the regular, but still make me a dex save. It's just your yeah, you've seen what's going on. You saw how things broke, and what little nicks you might have got are turned back by the gloves. So, I mean, these two are bleeding from both hands.
Once we're out and I see that Jillian's fine, Reed will be like, "We're getting out of here." And hand on Aloy. I'll cast Healing Word.
Yeah, you don't need to touch for healing word, and
Oh,
if you
that's
did
right.
healing word, and if you touched her, you just get blood stains all over her, and she's got enough of that already. So,
Right.
okay,
Good
yeah,
point. Sorry. I'm not used to having Healing Word.
Yep.
Okay, so Healing Word, casting it. Level 1. That's a 5 points.
Yeah, so there's still some they're closed, but it's still a little ow. And you're around about the same level as Reba right now, although hers are still oozing a bit.
Yep. But I'll deal. I'll just wrap them.
Yeah.
Grab the bandana, because I've got the one around my face, but I've got them stashed, because places. So I'll just grab one and tie it. Let's go.
Yeah, Jillian's moving it.
Okay, so you heading back to the church? Is anybody thinking to guide Aloy?
Yep.
Good. Because otherwise I was going to have to ask for rolls to keep her from smashing into walls.
I cannot see without the damn glasses, people.
Mostly things are, I mean, you can see basic shapes if they're close enough, but mostly things are a colorful blur. Or in the case of this town, a not so colorful blur, and given that, the visibility is bad outside anyway, because of the blowing dust, and now she's no longer got glass in front of her eyes to keep the sand from blowing into her face. It's amazing how quickly you get used to that.
Just increasingly disparaging remarks about terrible architecture, sandstorms, and there are things being said that are inventive. I just can't personally come up with them right now.
No, that's entirely fine. You do make it back to the church with no incident. Although Reba's gonna have to do some significant mending just to keep the soles from coming off one of her moccasins. You're muted.
I was just saying, yep.
I just wanted to make sure you knew, because I thought it might be that you hauled Dusky onto the mute button.
Thank you.
So yeah, back into the church, and you walk in. Two of you with blood stains. This one's swearing in particularly inventive ways. Mother's heedless of the mechanical thing. Reach up to cover their kids' ears as Aloy keeps swearing, heedless of impressionable youngsters.
I don't see shit. I can't. I'm not gonna stop.
Well, you still know they're there, or you could hear them.
Yeah, that once I hear the squeaking, I'm like, right. Okay, glasses, and I'm just pulling out the bits of it. Somebody hold these in place, please.
Boop. What you two see as like a 5-year-old boy just sort of reach, hold.
pulling out the sonic screwdriver, click, and mending.
It takes a minute or two, but you get things fixed. They're still a little worn around the edges, but they work. Hinge is fixed.
Back.
The lens is fixed.
Alloy, once you have those on and can properly see, can you give me a hand here? At least so they don't fall apart. And she points down at her moccasins.
Walking over, click, mending again.
Yeah, there's no saving some of the beadwork because
Beads
they
are
came
gone.
off in that house.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because those patterns were actually pretty damn meaningful, but
Yep.
at least
She's
they're not going
pissed.
to fall apart.
No, she's pissed.
Probably not half as pissed as Jillian, I'm sorry.
When she finds out later that night.
Yeah, there is actually going to be copious swearing from that one.
Yeah, among other things.
Once I've fixed that, I'm going to find somewhere I can start examining the bits of my thunder cannon.
Okay.
I don't want to be disarmed in this clusterfuck.
So you head back to the sort of living space because there's a table you can lay things out on. The Reverend is down there, takes one look at you, sort of dropping your thunder cannon on there and starting to open up, and decides, I'm just gonna go tend to my flock now and ask somebody what's going on. A lot of that copper wire you were showing people, the rubber around it looks like it's been gnawed by rodents. And you know how copper looks when it's burned?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the connectors have gone because that was the botch, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. That was the botch.
This thing is non-functional.
Popping out stuff for applying mending, looking at other components, basically just turning this thing inside out and separating every single piece.
And now we roll the hand of fate, and you can make a start, but some of this is going to have to be literally replaced. You know, the small, moderately safe chunk of ghost rock that you had in there as part of its power source is just a piece of chalk now, effectively.
Okay, I didn't want to have to use that, but it looks like there's going to be problems later if I don't do something.
We're gonna roll the hand of fate again. Yeah, okay. You do keep spares. Not many. I mean, you've got like 2 pellet chunks of this because you still haven't figured out the full extent of how much you can drain a piece of ghost rock before it stops being functional. It's like reloads. It's just you don't know how often you have to do it. So you have 2 remaining safe pieces of ghost rock that you can put in there.
I'm gonna head over, get that piece from one of Muffin's containers.
Yeah, because they're contained fairly safely in Muffin.
And any additional tools I'm gonna need to, at the very least, start either repairing or replacing some of the more hinky bits that didn't get mended from mending.
Yeah, it's the bits where the copper burned away or looked like it burned away that you need to do some replacement rather than... So there's some wiring that needs to be replaced, and that's gonna take probably a couple of hours, at least until dinner time.
There's just some grousing, and are the kids still on or around Muffin?
They're on Muffin, so, and you're in the back, so you're safe.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if they're like, are they watching me pull out little bits and widgets with any curiosity?
They are, but they're not saying anything, and the parents are looking at you like if you say one fucking word.
I'm just scanning all of this, trying to process, like what that look from the parents means. Um, Given that and since the kids already are interested in cool techno widgets, whether or not I should ask if they want to watch me fit some wiring together.
Make me an insight check.
For
Yeah, by all means, you go ahead and ask.
I'm gonna be fixing a thing you kids want to watch.
Parents are like, no. There's like, aw, from kids. But parents say, and one of the slightly, older ones is going, excuse me, ma'am?
Huh?
What's a dick waffle?
Uh, something you don't call anybody.
But you did.
I did. I was very, very angry and it let slip more than I should have.
Somebody slightly younger from behind. Is that the same with douche canoe?
Yeah.
Jillian waves over Reba. Wow. Aloy is occupied. Goes to find a empty pew to sit down on, well away from all parents and children.
Yeah, the Reverend's trying to herd everybody away from Alloy and you guys, and he'll ask later, probably, but...
What do you make of that? You didn't sense nothing, and
No,
I didn't see nothing.
It wasn't, whatever that was, it wasn't magical. It's doing some draining. I don't reckon it's responsible for all of it, because what it was doing was pretty localized. But that being the last place, now that I think on it, it does kind of make sense that it would still be there, because there was still some vitality left in the place to feed off of.
Maybe.
And I actually had a thought when we were talking before that with everything, seeing this one, realizing there may be more than one, or it may be part of a bigger thing.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, it kind of had me worried, because they said it escalated, but it escalated a lot quickly recently. And
I think you may have slightly misunderstood that. It escalated, but it wasn't like a swift peak. It just built.
Yeah.
We're not talking exponential here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Then I did misunderstand it slightly there. It worries me. Okay, whatever this is not natural. So yeah, I probably shouldn't be applying natural laws. But if energy is being, or vitality, or whatever, is being stored, well, when things store sustenance, assuming that that's what this is, it's usually for a couple of reasons. One, whatever it is that's consuming it needs the stores because hibernating or going dormant for an extended period, or it's got other mouths to feed.
Mm.
And
So one way,
to be fair, for Reba in particular, because she's her people have hunted. Whatever was in there was behaving more like a beast than a magical spell. There was a mind. It was attacking in cycle. You may have
Yep.
noticed.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of
Getting there.
I'm getting there, but this is also some of the stuff that from last week that occurred to me, so I want to go ahead and get that said too.
Yeah.
So so that kind of seeing the bestial nature of that reinforced that idea, like maybe there actually is a thing thinking behind this. So yeah, and now that may or may not be the case, but whatever was in that house was thinking. It was going one, then the next, then the next, and then one, and it was going around. It was hitting all of us, and it was hitting all of us.
it's not fitting from one thing too often.
Right. Well, yeah. If it was magical in nature, it probably would just latch onto one and just, there'd be more random. If it was just magical, there was no mind behind it. This thing was acting like a beast.
Jillian.
It was hunting.
Jillian, this one for you. There's also the fact that even when it didn't manage to get anything, and it locked you in, and it went sampling more and more from you, it was trying to scare you. And given that Reba nearly walked out of the house until she was stopped, succeeded. It was trying to generate more emotion.
Like you say, it was hunting, but it's more than that. It knew to close the door, it knew to spook us, rattle us, make us panic.
Because then there's more oomph, there's more us.
Could be.
It's fattening the kill.
Whatever manner of demon it is behind this could be very well be feeding on emotion as much as life. Of this.
Emotion it's still is life.
Yeah, emotion is life. That makes sense.
And it's likely holed up in the sanitarium.
Or more of them.
It's.
We don't know how much range this has. Yeah, it could just be that one, but
it seems the range is as far as this dust storm goes.
Yeah. In which case, we'll probably wind up having to go through the entire dust storm all the way there, if that's the case.
The question is whether that's an effect of the demon, or whether that is what the being is. It is that kind of invisible
is the dust storm. Right. That was the other
dust storm. Just the spirit that was in the house that we couldn't see, we couldn't sense, and then means we can't kill it. That's the problem. If it's a spell, essentially, from the demon, then that means the demon is something different, and that's theoretically something we could kill. But if it is, like you say, if there's more of them, if they're all like that, if that is the creature itself, then we have no way of stopping it.
Well, there are ways of getting rid of things that you can't hold.
And there's ways of making things that are not visible, but you might actually have to talk to your interesting Yankee for that. But for the time being, we have gone past the usual break time. So when we come back, have a think about what's going on with there, and when we come back, we'll have a bit more discussion about what you guys just went through. And we're back. The ones that I persist in thinking of, particularly now that you don't have the gentleman member of the group anymore as the Weird Sisters, are with a Y, WYRD is a thing. Have just escaped a family home in this little town, like barely, because things were gonna start getting real if that had continued in its pattern as it went. Aloy managed to get out with some things to study, but at the moment she's a little bit too busy in the kitchen of the Reverend's living space, swearing at her lightning gun now that she's been prevented from letting any of the kids watch. Yes, because let's expose children in single digits in age to ghost rock, even if it's only a tiny safe amount. Let's do that. Yeah, that's a spiffy idea. But she had rolled a 4 on insight, and her wisdom
More
was
concerned
crap.
about the wiring.
Yeah, but that's the thing. She's thinking about the wiring. She's not thinking about exposing kids to ghost rock.
Yep.
And Reba and Jillian are in a pew off towards the back, having discussions about what it was they just experienced, and thinking, oh crap, we're going to have to talk to the machinist of sorts about whether or not we can get anything that will make that thing visible.
Oh boy.
Proceed, but for the moment, Jillian is back in the... Aloy is back in the kitchen area, sitting at a table, reconnecting things. Actually, can you give me Tinker's tools, please? Just to see how long this will take. Because, God, you guys had some really shit rolls in there.
18.
Yeah, it'll take about an hour because just about every wire went. So you guys had your conversation that took about 10 minutes. So.
Really, looking out the window, what time is it? Very roughly.
Looking out the window. I mean, you were. This was after lunch, and there was a probably slower than you'd have liked, trying to guide Aloy through. So we're looking at. It's hard to gauge by the sun because you can't see the sun right now. So, but to your best estimates, it's probably 3:30ish, something like that.
Jillian's content to wait a little bit longer while Aloy does her thing.
Yeah,
So-
you got in around 3:30, so it's good. She's gonna have to clear out, finished or not, when the Reverend needs to be making dinner.
To answer your question, Jillian, or your statement rather, yeah, there are ways of dealing with things that can't be held, but there's also ways to make things that can't be seen. I don't know if I can, but Alloy might. Unfortunately, we're going to have to ask Alloy to help with that, possibly, which is going to be interesting. I know. I know that look. I know that look.
Well, seems as she's occupied for a moment. Might as well leave her be. Give her some.
Oh yeah. And
time,
hey,
give her some time to settle.
if nothing else, giving her this problem of making the seen thing seen will keep her from trying to attach the extra ghost rock to something again.
That's a good point too.
I'm just glad you guys actually managed to pick that up, because that's been a concern.
Jillian.
Sorry, Jillian.
No.
Jillian
go ahead.
pats Reba's arm, stands to go to the altar.
I'll go to the way of the where Aloy is, not actually fully enter. Well, I'll enter the room through the, like, to get around the, and just sort of lean against the wall and just sort of stay out of Alloway's way, but just sort of watch.
Okay.
I know I can't make heads or tails of any of this, but I'll just, be there.
You're learning some magnificent new combinations of swear words.
But yeah, just, if something starts smoking or there's fire or, just general mayhem.
With that roll, it's more that it's fiddly and annoying and swearing.
Oh yeah, but
Probably a couple sparks here and there, but nothing that's gonna like set the whole church on fire.
Yeah.
Okay, Jillian is at the altar.
Just gonna try to recalm herself again.
Okay.
Pray and think on kind of consider us. She's politely asked for guidance and also just like think about her prior experiences. Is there anything that sounds familiar? Like, would this be like intelligence roll or
That
kind of thinking the past
that
experiences?
that would actually be more wisdom than intelligence.
Okay. Maybe not.
You have not dealt with anything like this, and the Lord seems to be not so much playing hands off, but seeing what you do with what you have to hand.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, probably part of that wisdom rule really was just, taking a moment, trying to recenter yourself, going, okay, exactly how much do I have to recenter myself? Lock it.
Mm-hmm.
And that just... Looking at what's happened to the pictures in that locket, it's kind of blows anything, but it dies.
Jillian, opens it eventually, and then she kind of just stifling some noise stomps outside.
Okay, outside in the dust storm.
She just tries to step around the church to find wherever she's like out of the wind and the immediate dust.
Difficult to find. It seems to manage to get itself everywhere. Okay, so crawls up. All right. I mean, there's nobody actually paying all that much attention, so you're okay for now. And getting dusty and mixing with whatever tears might be is kind of grit on face, in eyes, so that's just making them water even more. Jillian's not having a very good time, poor dear.
No.
I was very much afraid that was going to happen, and it did.
Yeah.
Make me actually, Jillian, while you're doing that, because I figure you'll be out there for a little while. Make me a perception check. And you manage to look up, and you're trying to wipe dust out of your eyes. There's a figure just out of immediate being able to see features standing in sort of the graveyard adjunct. The posture looks both familiar and very wrong. And you haven't seen a man who stands quite like that in a while.
So he's like at the edge of the graveyard?
Is in amongst the tombstones, but because of the dust, you can't see very far in front of you to any feature degree, just because the dust is in the way.
Jillian stands up very slowly, hand on her pistol, and she kind of goes to like the edge of the graveyard, near, like on the edge closest to the church.
Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a map handy. Are you moving more towards the figure or away?
Towards the figure,
Okay.
but not too close yet.
Okay. So, are you trying to get within feature distance?
Like 15, 20 feet distance, depending on how big we're talking. Like, she's trying not to go too far from the church,
That's
and
fair.
not to get out of view of someone from the church.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But you do get a glimpse of Isaac, except it's wrong. His features are very, very pale. His eyes are side to side, completely black. And what's your AC?
15.
Shit, that was an at 20. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. That's not gonna be very pleasant. That's 16. Yeah, that's 22 points of damage as he shoots you in the chest. There's a laugh that's very much not him, and then gone.
Jillian intones, "Behold," and shoots in the space he was occupying.
Okay, I mean, roll. Roll damage, although you're probably blowing a bit off a headstone, but, yeah, you've managed to blow the head off a lovely little angel statue on one of the fancier gravestones in the vicinity. It went kind of through where he was just as he was vanishing.
Jillian strides forward, their gun up, and looks for footprints. Would that be investigate or percept?
That would be survival.
Survival, yes.
No footprints. I mean, to be fair, 2 footprints from where he was standing and facing you. But the bullet's very real.
She just
Make me a
keeps
wisdom save. Yeah, you can manage for the moment to drive away the thought that he shot you. More or less exactly where you got shot that very fateful evening. But
so he shot her where she got shot the first
Yeah.
time? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
But she can manage to not think about that right now. She's probably gonna have another freak out about it later. But right now, she can focus. She can focus. She can feel it, not necessarily naturally wanting to come to the forefront of her mind, and that in and of itself is like, if I'm gonna flip out over this, I'm gonna flip out over this on my own. I don't need any fucking demon pushing it on me, so it can go away right now. But yeah, the only footprints are where Isaac, as far as you know, as far as you could see, Isaac but not, was standing. It's like he appeared, shot you, and went away. Kind of like something appeared, killed the Norrington family, and vanished again. Alloy and Reba, make me perception checks, please.
I was about to ask. I was waiting for it to go.
I wanted to give Jillian a minute.
But a not natural one. So.
Yeah, but she's busy, so that makes a certain amount of sense.
14.
You heard some kind of popping sound that might have been from whatever the hell Alloy's doing, but you're not really sure enough. Given the wind and everything, it's not quite enough to be sure of what you heard.
Was that you?
To be fair, with that roll, Alloy might have been. You're muted. Smeagol, you're muted.
Yeah. It took me a second to. Again, if it's minimized, I have to pull it back up. I don't have enough.
Okay. I didn't know it was minimized, that's all. And something does, in fact, go poof when she...
Alright, that's soldered back together. What the hell is the...
Get more poof.
I'm good.
No, you're not sure enough.
Yeah.
You don't even know Jillian left the church.
Oh, no. That's why I was going to, like... Because I'm by the door to the room from the...
Yeah.
And I was just going to kind of lean out.
Yeah, but to be fair, if she's not there, she might want a little private time with the Lord, so you're not...
Oh, no, exactly. Well, that's exactly. So she's going to lean out, not see Jillian there. Remember that she went off to the altar and just be like...
Okay. So Jillian is outside, looking at these two footprints that were standing facing her and nothing else.
So would that wisdom roll have factored into how much surety she has about what she just saw in regards to the possibility of illusions, or
no,
would this be a separate roll?
That would be a separate roll. That would be straight up wisdom check, not save. That was to keep your head from getting fucked with.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
That was not an illusion. You're pretty sure that you're not 100% sure, but this may just be wishful thinking that it was just something taking Isaac's shape to frighten and distract and disorient you, but given what the corpse of Wyatt Norrington said a month or so ago, and how long it takes a letter to get to places in this part of the world, and what was going on at the time, it could very well be that Isaac got desperate enough to make a deal, and what the corpse said was something hunts you. You're not 100% sure, but the only reason you're not 100% sure is that you cannot imagine that this would happen.
Did Wyatt say you specifically, Jillian, or
Yes.
you, the team?
No,
okay,
you
Jillian.
specifically Jillian. He meant so far this corpse as to, despite not technically really being able to do so, tilt head and eyes towards you.
Okay, Jillian kind of fishes out a cloth to put to her chest.
Yeah.
Looks around again. Lurks for another minute, and then she strides back inside.
When Reba hears the door shut, she's on edge enough to look and sees Jillian front covered in blood. You're muted.
She just quickly walks over to Jillian and just tries to like get her like through into the other room.
Yeah, because there are the 7
Children.
or so people are still just looking.
Jillian slumps a bit against her and hobbles along.
And yeah, I'll get
Alloy,
her
given that perception check, is
still.
unless blood is dripping into her workings, she is not noticing anything right now.
And yeah, so once we get to the
Kitchen.
through the door into the kitchen. Thank you. Blech, losing words. Sorry. Yeah, I will. Let's see. Which one of the numerous ways? I guess I'll do healing word for now. Oh wait, that's in court. So I'll just quickly do healing word.
Jillian grabs at her arm when she looks like she's about to do a healing thing. I need to see the bullet.
All right. Okay.
That's, to be fair, you probably really do want Alloy for that. She's got the delicate tools to fish a bullet out. Oh, incidentally, you may not be able to see it given where it is, but it burns in a very unpleasant and not usual for bullets way in there.
I mean, I'd have to look at it to see, but I can try. But you probably won't.
Go get Aloy.
Well, she's sitting right there.
Right in front of you people.
Aloy.
Yeah.
Okay,
What?
and you look up and she's gunshot to the chest.
What the fuck?
We're in a church. It's not
Aloy,
even my God, and I wouldn't do that.
would you kindly get your tweezers?
We need an extraction.
That means you're gonna have to move the thing and get her to lie down.
Hang on a
because-
second. And I'm getting like the still like the three to six pieces that are still separated, and just move. I get those out of the way. On the table.
Jillian starts pulling clothing.
Yeah.
It's back on the table.
Okay, I'll give you Tinker's tools for this.
I'll do whatever I can to assist, which is basically just keeping Jillian still.
11.
You get it, but you do another 3 points of slashing damage this time. Because she has to cut, and it's lodged on bones, so it's done some ow there. Can Alloy give me a medicine check, please? I don't know if she's got the proficiency, but given she studies just about everything, I'm willing to let her have that for the moment.
Yeah, it's not a great. This is one of the things I've got a shit modifier on. This is gonna be hilarious. 7.
Yeah, actually, no, in which case the half damage I gave that in kindness does not apply. So yeah, that was actually 6 points of slashing damage. And she's just like, it's easier when it's, because there's meat in the way, cut. Can Reba make me a, actually no, it's contested athletics. Jillian and Reba.
All right. There's athletics.
Oh boy.
Nope.
Okay.
16.
Yeah, that's another 4 points of slashing as Jillian manages to wiggle despite Reba's best efforts. So there's more blood, but she does manage to get the bullet out.
At which point, I will. Can I fix you now?
Yes. Please.
So. Oh, I've already got the thing up.
I would recommend healing word at more than first level.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was going to do that. I'm just trying to see. Okay.
Yeah, she's kind of 40 points down.
Yep. I got you. Ouch. That's not good.
Well, it's close.
That was at level 4.
Yeah, that was a really shitty roll.
Yep.
That's both those.
The Reverend does come in and goes, "What in the place has happened here?"
We hadn't gotten that far yet. I don't know.
But before you get anywhere with this, let me see what I can do about this. And murmurs a prayer. Take an extra 17 points of healing. Did I not get now I need to check your character sheet because I know I meant to give you a thing, but I'm pretty sure that I had.
That's also, as far as I can understand, that's
Ah!
is it both numbers combined, or is it just the top number out of that?
I combined them in my head, so I would not worry too much about that.
Gotcha.
It's all of them combined.
Yeah.
No, I
I'd learn to
I
parse
had meant to. I'll deal with that the next level up. Don't worry about it. This is me thinking I did a thing. I didn't do a thing.
Okie doke.
But yeah, it's better. The burn that was there is faded. Now it's just a healing wound.
Thank you kindly, Reverend. She very stiffly pushes herself up and pulls her very bloody shirt back closed.
Should I not be here for explanations of what happened? Because I'm sensing this is a personal matter.
Yeah. I don't reckon that you and yours are in danger, or
That
rather in any more danger.
That ain't what I asked. Would you like
Huh.
me to be elsewhere?
Yes. Thank you.
I can give you another hour or so before I've got to start thinking of feeding these folks. So,
That's fine.
mostly looking at Alloy because she's still got bits all over his floor now. And then he nods a little bit and leaves the room. Probably reassuring folks as he goes. So
Okay, well, Aloha, you. Sorry that we had to interrupt, but well, obviously we had to interrupt. You get back to work, Jillian. The obvious question: What happened?
Would you kindly see if the Reverend keeps the bottle of whiskey?
I don't know if the Reverend does, but I think I might still have some left from that cabinet.
Would you kindly find somewhere to
sorry,
slump?
very very quickly while while Reba and Jillian are doing drinks thing, does Alloy want to take a minute to investigate the bullet?
Very yes.
Okay, can you make me an investigation check, please?
$25.
The metal is
Ooh.
unlike anything you have ever seen. There are tiny runes etched into it. You don't know what they are or what they mean, but they're not in any language you know or have. You may have seen something very similar that you boomed before you could really get any real sense of them. There's a faint reddish glow to those runes if you're examining with a magnifying glass.
Yep, book out, and I'm copying each rune.
Jillian gets herself up very slowly to hobble over and look over Aloy's shoulder.
And mostly you're seeing scribbles, honestly. You never went in for the iconography of either side of this little warrior in. you basically point me at something and shoot it.
Mhm.
And while that's going on, I'll pull out a bottle of whiskey and look around the kitchen for appropriate glassware.
And given your wisdom, you look at Jillian and go, "Fuck it, she's getting the bottle." Because as well as the blood loss,
Oh no,
she's in some
that
pretty significant shock.
the glass was for me.
You can find you can it's more of a cup than a glass, but
That works. I just need a container so I can have at least a little bit for myself.
that's fair. Okay, so pour yourself a
And then,
glass, hand Jillian the
and then I
bottle.
just hand the bottle to Jillian.
Jillian takes the bottle, swigs, and then wipes at her very dusty face, and probably gets more blood on herself.
Yeah, it's currently sort of sandy mud and now blood, and her face is a absolute mess. And now I've got "We Will Rock You" stuck in my head. Fuck you all. Anyway.
Jillian just slumps back into the chair again.
Very, very quickly, there's a knock on the door. Leans head in. Well, I see you got yourself some drinks, but I've got a bottle of rum I mostly keep for medicinal purposes that at least one of you might find a bit more appealing than whiskey. Points to a cabinet.
Thank you, Reverend. We might need that in another day or two.
Shuts the door. If Reba goes to look, it's actually the kind of thing that her mother would have taught the people of her father's tribe how to make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she pops it open and she can just smell the sugar cane and the.
So yeah, she pops it open and takes a deep breath and just and pours a little bit, and she'll finish the whiskey quickly. Pour some of the rum and then set it on the counter and just leave it sit for a little while.
Okay, just for the smell, I guess.
Something like that.
Okay. So yeah, Alloy is probably about done copying the runes and whatever note she's made about the metal, because I mean there's clearly some iron in there, but it's not the usual steel. It's got elements in it that you've never seen. To get that color, that shade, that gloss, you have no idea what the hell some of this is.
To even have that level of gloss, even after it's been, fired and in someone and then pulled out forcibly.
Yep. So, Alloy.
I'm gonna find a suitable container and plunk this into that.
Yeah, you've got containers that should do for whatever shielding you might think it needs. Although you might want to ask Jillian how. I mean, given Alloy's wisdom, she probably would just ask. So when it was in there, how did it feel?
It probably
Jillian.
not much act.
That's what I meant.
Yes, Aloy.
So, when this was in your system, what'd it feel like? Burning?
Yes, burning.
Interesting.
Well, given that
I need to make comparisons.
Given that investigation check, there is a certain amount of, and it's heat, but it's not a natural heat coming off that thing. It's infected wound heat.
It's like inflammation.
Yeah, even outside the body, you can just feel that
Hey, Jillian,
that dirty heat of an infection.
make sure you get an extra once over. This might be carrying something a little more than just bullet.
To be fair, that would have been handled, and the burning, and you know what an infected wound feels like. That sensation is gone. It now just aches
I'll
in
be
that
alright,
healing wound way.
Roy. I'll be alright, honest.
The,
Mm-hmm.
the
Okay, I've
Reverend-
got more stuff to fix.
Just be careful with that thing. Put it somewhere safe.
Waggling it in its container.
Clink, clunk, clunk, clunk. So, stories,
I'm going to-
explanations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go
So,
back to fixing my shit.
and Ray will look over at Jillian, look at the bottle still in her hand, go, So, what happened? Motioning at the bottle, going, take a swig if you need to. I'm going to ask, what
Takes a
happened?
swig. I was outside, and I saw someone standing in the cemetery. And when I went to take a closer look, he shot me.
Who'd you see? Or do you recognize him? Who'd you see?
Julian's silent for a suspiciously long time.
I'm wise enough to
Hey,
know
yeah.
that this. I know whatever it was. It was something. It wasn't a stranger. That much is obvious, and we're not in a position I can let it go. I'm sorry.
It looked like Isaac, my husband.
I know who he is. I figured we've been traveling long enough. You probably at least mentioned him in passing. At least the name.
I definitely remember she mentioned it to Aloy, so by this time, probably.
Yeah. At least the name, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And he shot you. Okay.
He looked cursed. Black
Was it-
eyes.
Right. Okay. If it was okay. I don't suppose you have any way of knowing if it was him or something that was made to look like him, or...
Okay, given that I said you're about 95% sure,
Yeah.
deception
Okay.
check
That's fair.
against your insight.
Oh, 17.
She is lying to herself so fucking hard right now, and she's lying to you even harder. And she can't afford to do that.
Mm.
Jillian. 1, you're lying to yourself, which, fine. 2, we're in a church and you're lying to me. You're lying in a church and you're lying to me. 2 things I know you don't do.
Jillian glowers at her.
And given again your wisdom, you come to the same conclusion as Jillian did. You remember what Wyatt Norrington's corpse said?
So this is what was meant by it's hunting you. Something's hunting you. Someone or something?
Someone's hunting.
Someone's hunting you. Isaac is hunting you.
When I got closer, just 2 footprints, and that was it. It was gone in the wind.
Again, like the Norringtons.
Do you have any inkling of how of how long it's been hunting you? Or he's been hunting you, it's been hunting you?
I ain't been home in 3, 4 years. That letter came when we were outside the Norringtons, but was the letter dated?
No.
Who knows how long ago he'd mailed that out.
Mm-hmm. Well, something showed up, attacked you, and then left. Something showed up, attacked the Norringtons, and left. Are they related?
Wyatt Norrington was he who said something was coming for me. How else would he know?
Hmm.
I don't.
Is it related to this?
It's hard to tell what comes from a demon, what comes from some other manner of monster.
Well, you're all right.
And as soon as Reba says that, there is the sound of a great deal of screaming coming from the main church room.
Jillian runs up as fast as she can.
Reba's.
As the two of you hit the doorway, probably more or less ramming into each other as you do, and Reba doesn't know what Isaac looks like, but it's the face is way too pale. The eyes are completely black, and at his feet is the rapidly bleeding out body of the Reverend. There's a bleeding knife. There's a bloody knife in his hand, and once he knows he's been seen, gone.
I'm running over to the Reverend immediately.
Yeah,
Jillian
by the time
looks around.
By the time you get there, there's nothing you can do for him. And his throat's been opened. The kids are freaking out. The parents are freaking out.
Jillian runs out the front door, stops at the doorway, looks out into the dust storm.
Nothing.
She screams.
Okay, but you do have something you can do if you do it fast enough. Remember the spiffiness?
Oh, yes, thank you, Jillian.
Okay. Once
Deep
the
breath
screaming,
in.
you do get that. You do get that very much. Reba can almost see the glow coming off Jillian as the scream dies and something else.
Jillian steps very slowly, very calmly back to the Reverend, kneels down beside him, puts her hand over his face, and thunders, as it was written, "Come forth, Lazarus." She casts Revivify.
Because we're not doing the diamond cost, it really is going to be both Jillian and the Reverend who suffer exhaustion at this point. So Jillian sags. She'd already been shot. But Reba can see that ragged hole close up. And while he does not regain consciousness, she can see him start to breathe. If she wants to healing word at this point, she can at least wake him up. Of course, the screaming has now stopped, and they're just staring.
because she's hesitant to want to get too close after that much, that ain't my thing. So she's a little like, whoa. That was a lot. And she'll very carefully lean to the Reverend, and she'll do a healing word, but as she's doing it, she's like, you can wake up now. Your flock needs you.
Okay, but do roll just so that
Yeah.
we know how. I mean, he's still gonna be fragged, but now she
7.
rolls well. I'm not sure I should make too much of an issue with that. I don't think that directly thanking you, tilting his eyes Jillian's way, would necessarily be appropriate. But thank you for acting as a channel, I reckon. He looks up at his flock, who are still staring. How persuasive can he be? He actually manages at that point to convince them that it wasn't that bad.
And Reva's not saying a word, because she knows well enough. She's the one that said your flock needs you, so she's like...
Basically, he doesn't want them getting in the way of what you guys need to do by going culty weird over any of you, so he's basically up for explaining, it wasn't that bad, we're all a little overwrought. There are things in heaven and earth that are undreamt of in most philosophies, but it really was not as bad as it looked. And
Jillian.
Thankfully, because again, that was a nat 20, they actually buy it. Mostly because the human mind, when it's confronted with something that outside of its experience, will happily latch on to any fucking explanation.
Jillian just smiles very tiredly to the Reverend and sits there. She's tired.
Reverend, we need to get you to where's your room, I guess? Well, you need to lie down.
Past the kitchen.
All right, I'll help you get there.
No, you help her first. My flock still needs to see me all right for a little while. At least get her to a chair where she's... maybe a damp cloth or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, you like I said, they need you. So you tend to them as best as you see fit. I'll be back, I'll be back in a few. So yeah, I'll help Jillian into the kitchen.
I'm gonna say Alloy was actually watching that from the door because I can't imagine her missing that. So
yeah, after
Alloy,
when the screaming proper started.
Yeah, so Alloy actually watched the whole. She just.
And Reva's just like, don't.
What a day for me to not be armed.
It wouldn't have. Anyway.
Just do the thing he said to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish working on my cannon, and then I'm going to start looking at the stuff we got.
Yeah. All right. And so, yeah, I'll bring Jillian in the kitchen and find a chair at the very least.
Jillian sumps back down again.
Looks to see if the
whiskey bottle is still intact.
The whiskey bottle is still intact. You weren't holding it when that all went down, so.
Now I'll wet one of the claws I have. I'll dip a tiny bit of it in the rum and then water it down with just regular water in the cloth, and hand it to Jillian for your face, and then I'll finish the rum. 'Cause after all that,
Yeah.
Wipes her face down several times.
Yeah. The
well,
Reverend.
finish the cup, not the bottle.
Yeah, I figured that the Reverend
Okay.
does come through slowly.
And read this.
It's all right.
Can you use-
I can.
Okay.
My only worry is, well, I suppose,
We'll take care of. I can put something together for them. I got it.
I mean, if push comes to shove, you can just kind of slice some bread and cheese and that. But if you can make something a bit more not too interesting, I have a feeling that folks around here have had
yeah.
quite enough interesting.
Yeah, we'll try to do something similar to what we put together yesterday,
No lunch.
or lunch. My bad. It's been a long day.
I can puts a hand. I can tell. And heads into the room.
Right, Jillian, you stay put. Aloha, you keep working. We need some food.
Yeah.
And so,
Food takes longer than the finishing touches on Alloy's cannon, so she can start analysis if she chooses while things are still. So yeah, you've got the dress, what turns out to be a plush bunny, and a diary. What appears to be a diary anyway. It doesn't have a title or anything, so it's obviously not a children's picture book.
I'm starting with that diary.
Okay, investigation check.
Time to find out just how freaky this thing is. 26.
Most of the pages are empty, but not. It doesn't feel like they should be, if you see what I mean. It's then again, given what this thing does, the fact that it's battered and worn doesn't mean that much, except for the fact that the first few pages in it's strange, the dichotomy, because on the one hand you've got a similar sort of rune to what you found on that bullet. Not the same glyphs at all, but kind of like the same alphabet, almost. But apparently because of what they were shaped out of, it looks like little girl handwriting. But it clearly wasn't the little girl who wrote that. It's just, it seems to be, from what Alloy is looking at, from her own, Sherlock scanned kind of thing, is that the ink was reforming itself into these, but because the handwriting was a little girl's handwriting, that was all they had. But she still has no idea what any of this says.
I'm going to copy down those runes, along with the analysis of reformed from prior handwriting influenced current appearance.
Okay.
And starting to do, trying to do the math on how that ink would move in that fashion.
Well, what it seems to be is that, given that investigation roll, this wasn't just having all the life drained out of it. Something else happened as well, but given that it's only tiny bits of the book, the first few pages, it was more recent. So it's possible that it absorbed a whole different kind of energy, but because it's clearly not absorbing energy from any of you, biggest culprit would be that bullet. So these things can absorb from, as far as Ala can tell, this is her working theory. These things can absorb that reckoner-y kind of energy and turn things tainted if there's something sufficiently Iggy nearby. She'd need to look at the other stuff to corroborate.
I'm going to add that to my analysis. Pull the bullet, still in its container. Look around for any spare bits of things that can fit to that as shielding.
Now we roll the Hand of Fate. You have some bits and pieces of what you were using to fix the cannon, so you can shield that a bit more.
Okay, now let's see. I'm going to flip to the back of this thing.
The book?
Yeah, the book.
The book is empty.
Okay,
The back page.
Exposure test 1. Click open the shielding and holding the bullet near it.
How long for?
I'm just going to hold it until I start to see something shift on the page.
It doesn't take overly long, surprisingly. It's not... It doesn't seem to have been shaped... These don't seem to be a runic alphabet. They seem to be more... sigils, designs of some significance, but from what they look like, it looks like what you'd get if you got some kid doodling, some little girl doodling like kittens and flowers, except creepy.
I'm going to copy the resulting sigil over.
Well, sigils, it's
sigils.
sort of around the edge of the page.
Yeah, so copying those over. Listing what they came up as. Okay, theory's correct. Oh boy, if I want to do this, I'm going to have to do that away from everybody else, because that's a lot more energy.
What is it you got there, Aloy?
So, things that were drained, they can absorb a lot more quickly. Especially if it's this stuff, and I'm holding up the...
To be fair, her theory is it doesn't absorb the good stuff at all.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I was getting to that part of it.
Yep.
Is that it's stuff a lot more quickly, but not anything normal. Specifically, this stuff, and I'm holding up the container with the bullet and rattling it a little.
Incidentally, given Reba's got the highest passive perception of any of you, that plush bunny, the frayed, faded plush bunny, is... The stomach's kind of twitching. You're muted.
Ethan.
The bunny. Grab it's moving.
I mean, it's like there's something inside the stuffing. Just when you guys look.
Yeah, there's.
Could you? I've got. And I'm still gesturing to all the crap in front of me.
Jillian fumbles for her pistol. She's not getting up yet.
Yep. Okay. Is anyone?
I'll grab the bunny by the ears.
Okay.
And I'm like,
and it's still just the stomach poke, squirm.
I'm gonna carefully set it on the table. You're the one with the tools.
Do you have
Otherwise,
a
I'm just
container, Aloy?
Yeah. Can we put this in something quick?
Going to find a canister-looking thing.
While she's looking, this is going to take a little while. There's a poke and fairly large insectile leg.
Tomahawk.
Roll me an attack roll.
It's just wham immediately. 19.
That hits. Okay, roll damage.
One.
Okay, you kill one, but there's about a half a dozen abnormally large cockroaches that don't seem to. They shouldn't have fit in there. They go boiling out.
Jillian shoots.
Roll me an attack roll.
And that one.
You shoot out one of his windows. To be fair, it makes sense.
She shoots again.
Oh.
Roll.
Okay.
I mean, thankfully they're not that hard to hit. Roll damage. Yeah, that one turns one of them into splat, so there's like 4 more scuttling for hiding spaces.
Now I'm just
Attack,
Yep.
because they're not exactly fighting back at this point.
That one.
You.
There went the cup I was using for the rum.
Yeah, pretty much. Alloy, one of them has climbed into the bit of cannon you still had open.
Hey, out, swatting at it.
Oh Christ. Straight strength, check.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to actually, like, hurt it. I just want it out.
Yeah, still.
Wait.
You do manage to actually splat it against the inside, and there's insectile squidge inside your cannon now. There's like 2 of them left now, so.
Jillian stands up as best she can, hobbles forward, and begons. Okay. Word of Radiance.
Okay, so, sorry, what's your spell save DC?
14.
Yeah, the ones left just kind of
Slumps back down.
at which
get
point
the
you
vials!
get the Reverend sort of leaning against the doorframe, looking at the mess you got and just going,
There were, I believe Jillian would describe them as unholy bugs.
I think I'm just gonna stick with, sometimes mess will happen if you've got an unfamiliar kitchen. Can someone at least please fix the damn window? Pardon me, Lord, but seriously. And go back to bed.
I'm gonna walk.
Reverend.
Yeah, Aloy, please.
I'll walk over to the window and cook. Whirr.
Yeah, you hear a rather exhausted groan from the bedroom, and then punk as the door is shut, probably by him throwing a shoe at it. He had every intention of leaving the door open so you could hear it if you got into any more trouble, but that noise just... Of course,
Okay.
Jillian has to put up with it, but... So, yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna go rooting around for vials to get bug samples.
You can get bug samples.
So do they look anything beyond just
Large.
painfully large bugs?
To be fair, you
Sorry.
turn them into squish. Okay,
That's fair.
you can no longer see them because they are smears.
I do. I'm just loving the painfully large. That was just beautiful. That was well done there.
Well, if Alloy hadn't done as well as she did, things would have happened. But we don't have to worry about that because she did do incredibly well. So yeah, you've got bug samples. Nothing else that you took from that house appears to be moving.
Okay, so there's that. I'm going to need both of you in like a couple of more hours once I've looked over the rest of this stuff. I have a test I need to perform.
What
That's
kind
gonna
of
need
test?
a lot. I'm gonna hold up the container of bullet. Exposure test number 2. I just do not want to do that in here.
Exposing
What's
what? To what?
And I'm gonna flip open. I'm gonna take the kid's book, flip open to the pages, and hold it up. Watch this. Click. Open up the containment on the bullet.
Later page or earlier page?
Closer to the later pages.
You're not actually getting anything from that page.
Key, and then I'm gonna flip over to the earlier pages.
You
Hold
flip
it.
you flip for a while, and when you get to clearly it hadn't been fully written in to any great degree. The kid was probably quite young, but once you get to one of the earlier pages, you do see what Alloy originally saw, the just runes.
I'm leaning close enough to be able to make them out, but I'm trying not to get close enough that I don't want to get close to the damn bullet if it's doing that. Can I make a Arcana check myself, or any
Yeah.
kind of a check to see? Okay, if I have any inkling.
Arcana will do.
Nope, 7.
Can
You got
it.
Jillian roll to recognize if she's seen it at all? Or wait, we already mentioned that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, Reba's the only one that hadn't. Yeah, I've never seen anything remotely like this in effect, or those.
This is absorbing the negative energy discharge from this bullet and manifesting the same runes.
So, those are okay.
Incidentally,
You had-
looking at those runes, as long as Reba is, your eyes are starting to itch.
Okay, I'm gonna.
So that's changing what the girl wrote. It's changing her letters into the demon's letters?
At the very least, it's manifesting the same properties. Anything that's been drained will probably start absorbing negative energy at an accelerated rate.
Which is probably what happened to the bunny.
Jillian. Lock it.
Jillian very, very slowly opens up her locket again. Double check.
Yeah, the picture of Isaac looks very much like the individual who shot her just recently. The picture of her looks exceedingly dead.
Jillian snaps off the locket and throws it at the wall.
I'm guessing that also absorbed a lot.
The bullet was in her, you jackass!
It. You know what?
No.
Actually, Reba's gonna turn. The bullet was in her, you jackass.
I was trying to not be so blunt about it.
By being blunt. Or you
The
you
word
went
is
so far.
vague.
You went so far obtuse, you came back around to blunt.
Okay. Anyway, I'm going to be checking out the rest of this stuff. And afterwards, we're gonna need to be somewhere that's not this kitchen when I do
Well-
exposure test number 2.
Okay, but again, you exposed it to the book, and it did that. I'm assuming, exposing it to something else. You didn't say what.
What
What's
else
the
do we
purpose
have
of
that is
this?
a giant load of negative energy?
No. You are not exposing that to the canister ghost rock. Literally over my dead body.
It's the only thing I have for comparison.
What do we need to do this for, Aloy?
I'm trying to figure out if these things have a capacity.
But if they
If
have
they
a
have a
capacity, if they have a capacity and they overflow, How much of this town has been drained?
If they have a capacity and it overflows, we're sitting in a town that has been drained. We are sitting
Shit.
in, yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean now. Okay,
We're not doing that. If we do it, we're not doing it here. And I don't think we
Yeah.
should do it at all. And you're not doing it if I'm around. It's a bad
I'd say
idea.
you would need to be around to help deal with it if it starts to get anywhere beyond controlled. I'd like it to be controlled.
Jillian, you know
Some-
that this Isaac thing has been very much interfering with everything that you've tried to do thus far. What happens if it got hold of the canister?
Aloy, we're not fooling around with that outside in the middle of the dust storm when Isaac can come and go in the blink of an eye, and even the church didn't stop him. We're
Yeah,
not-
that actually brings it back around to we need to find a way to either isolate or
Dispose of.
force these things to manifest in a physical fashion.
Oh, you meant that. Sorry.
Yeah, not the drained stuff. We can't do anything about that. All I can do there is contain. The deal with the stuff that's actually draining and the stuff it's absorbing, that we need to force into a place where we can actually contend with it. Because I can't exactly grab something that'll just pop out of existence, and we can't very well shoot something that flies through us.
All of that
Well,
is probably going to have to be dealt with
Yeah.
at the sanitarium, and we are
at the time, yeah.
we're past that time, but
Yeah.
things were getting real exciting, so
Yeah, that's great. Oh my god, guys, this is great.
so we will meet up again next week when after some potentially recovery time and hopefully not ending up waking up too hungover, maybe we actually get to the sanitarium.
Oh, this was amazing. This is some amazing
Yes.
character interactions. This was so much fun. Thank you, guys.
Oh, believe me, you haven't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, we have not. I have an inkling as to where this is
This is
going.
some great back and forth.
Anyway, I'll see you guys next week.